you follow high school sports? The San Diego Union Tribune's free UT Preps app is the go-to source for your favorite high school sports teams. Get schedules, scores, standings, news, and more right on your phone. Follow your favorite high school team by sport. Share photos and videos right from the game. See rosters and player profiles complete with game-by-game statistics and receive push notifications for game updates. Don't miss any of the action at Oceanside, Chula Vista, Torrey Pines, and many more San Diego schools. Download the free UT Preps app on Google Play or the Apple App Store.
Welcome to another edition of the San Diego Prep Insider Podcast. I'm Tommy Morris. He's Montel Allen from SDFNL Magazine and NBA Sports Recruiting. Montel, we had kind of an eventful weekend last week with all those state playoff games, didn't we?
Yeah, man, great job to all the San Diego teams. You know, matter if you won or lost. I'm happy for the guys that advanced. You know, some tough losses that we had. But, you know, all in all, man, a very, very great performance for San Diego football as a whole. So I'm excited. Now we're moving on to the good part of recruiting and the offseason stuff. So let's get to it.
Yeah, and before we get there, I just want to say one thing about that Helix game. And I know it's late now. It happened a week ago, but I'm still fired up about it. There is no way in heck that anyone was offsides on that play. I know that doesn't mean Helix would have won the game, but they should have had a chance with a minute in the ball. I cannot believe that call. One of the worst calls I've ever seen. And it's just a shame for the kids.
I agree with you, Tommy. I mean, why would you take that away from the kids on a call like that wasn't even there? It looks like it was, I don't know what the refs were thinking at that point. No one, from what I understand, at least all the research I've done, and I was me and you were talking about it, I even talked to people that were there at the game that was filming the game. No one saw anyone line up in the neutral zone, and no one jumped. So I don't know where that call came from. It's a shame. Unfortunately for Helix, I'm sorry. I feel sorry for those guys, especially the seniors.
Right, and again, it doesn't mean they would have won the game if they got the call, but I mean, it's just a shame that has happened. And if anything, I will say this, and this might be a little controversial, but even if the kids do jump offsides by a little bit, you don't make that call at that point in the game because the last thing you want is a 5-yard penalty to decide it. But that's here nor there. We're here to break down the top 5 players in each position for the class of 2016. So younger guys, do not get offended if you don't see your name. You don't see it because you're not in the class of 2016. So please keep that in mind. Over.
2016 quarterbacks have just played at an awesome level. First of all, everyone was playing great, but let's give them my top 5, especially out of the seniors. I'll go 5 all the way through 1. Number 5, I'll be David Todd Jeremiah for Christian. Excellent year this year. Threw the ball over the place, led them. I got Aaron Bonillas from Imperial at number 4. My sleeper guy, Gary Cannon, Mr. Athletic, at Olympian, just did a great job at number 3. My number 2 quarterback is Michael Austin of Helix. You know, the phenomenal year he had. And number 1, San Diego State commit, Lucas Johnson. I thought he just played excellent. He got better as the year went on. And that Rancho Bernardo game sealed it for me the way he took over that game and led him in the playoffs. So those are my top 5.
We have a pretty similar top 5. I thought I was going to find a sleeper myself with Anthony Bonillas, but you also found him. He kind of came out of nowhere this year. Number 4, Rhett Riley, the last of the Rileys at Valley Center. Number 3, Shea Morales from Carlsbad. Number 2, Lucas Johnson, as you said. And number 1, I got to go with, Michael Austin, maybe not as flashy as Lucas, but much more consistent, I would say. And I like the leadership qualities and everything. Not that Lucas isn't a good leader, but I just really, really like Michael Austin, the way he plays the game. So he's my number 1 quarterback. Moving on to the backfield, the guys behind are now in today's offense to the side of the quarterback. Who are your top 5 running backs of the senior class?
This was a tough one. I mean, there was a lot of running backs that could be here. I wasn't able to pick everyone, unfortunately, but here we go with my top 5 to run it down. Number 5, Nehemiah McFarland over there at Mission Hills. Great year this year. A breakout year for him, actually. And he just played so well. I was very, very impressed. Number 4, Cal-bound Derek Clark, Mission Bay. I know he played a lot of quarterback. You can say he played running back, quarterback. He's a running back. He's going to play running back at the next level. Number 3, Greg Bell of Bonita Vista. What a stud. Way to show up in the playoff game. Way to lead them now to state when they're even playing next week. My hat's off to him. He just had a great year. Number 2, Mr. Stinson. And he could be my number 1. Number 1 is Elijah Preston. And I went back and forth, fourth and back and forth, fourth and back. And I gave it to Elijah only on this one reason. I gave it to Elijah because of his history. Elijah's going to be probably one of the all-time rushers in the league. Stinson, I know he's been great, but he didn't play all 4 years varsity. Elijah did. So I gave it to Elijah Preston. He's my number 1 back.
I've got a very, very similar list. The top 3 are all the same, but top 4 are the exact same. I've got Adrian Petty in there at number 5. Nehemiah McFarland also very deserving to be in the top 5. But here's the crazy thing. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that Petty, Clark, and Stinson all could have been at the same school if they all had stayed where they originally went. I have to double check on that, but I'm pretty sure that was the case. So can you imagine that Helix team plus Petty plus Clark? I mean, they would run out of mouths to feed. I mean,
the balls to go around at that point. You wouldn't even have enough footballs to hand off to them.
I mean, I think you could create 2 Helix teams at that point, and they would still be better than anyone else in the county. But
it's a little bit to move those guys around, so we're good. We're in a good spot.
Anyway, moving on to wide receiver, Montel. Who are your top 5?
My top 5. Let's go with Mr. Mount Carmel, Rashid Shaheed. Breakout year again this year. Guy's a deep threat. Runs excellent routes. Very, very impressive. Number 4, Nick Sexton from Christian. He's the guy just catches balls. He's been doing it for the last 2 years. Very, very impressive. My number 3, who a lot of people might not know until now, is Devon Vele. Kid is just awesome. He's very athletic. He's a great player, great guy in school, everything. Number 2 is Desmond Patman over Patrick Henry, and he probably could have been my number 1, but he was hurt with a lot of injuries this year. And number 1 is Makai Stevenson over at Helix. I know Stephon McKnight over there at Mira Mesa, he should have been on my list, but he played a lot of defense and he didn't get the ball as much as some of these guys did. So I left him off as far as production numbers is concerned, but he's also deserving to be on this list as well. So those are my top 5 receivers.
I have the same thing. I don't have McKnight as well, but for the same reason. He just didn't get the ball as much as the other guys, but he has just as much talent as anyone else. Number 5, Ben Ratzlaff from Westview. They had a great year this year. He was one of the main reasons. Devon Vele, my number 4, same thing. Kind of came out of nowhere for me. I actually didn't really even notice him until the very last game of the year when I was at RB Poway, and I was like, who is this kid? How do I not know who this kid is? Somebody give me some information on this guy right away. And after seeing it firsthand, I can tell you he's definitely top 5 in the county. Nick Sexton, number 3, very underrated player as well. Adrian Petty gets a lot of attention over there at Christian, as he should. Nick Sexton, one of the leading receivers in the county. And if his huddle information is true, which you never really know with these online websites, he runs in the 4.4 range, which is insane. So exactly. He's a great wide receiver. Patman, number 2, for the same reason that you have him, and Stevenson, number 1 from Helix. So moving on to the most important players on the team, Montel, the offensive linemen.
Hey, the big hogs up front. I mean, these guys make it all happen up front for the offense. So let me get right into it. Jake Kitten from Santana. A lot of people don't know about this kid. This kid is a stud. He's fast off the ball. He's quick. He's playing in the SDNFL All-Star game. We're so excited to have him. The guy's just a beast all the way around. He plays in Santana, so he doesn't get as much exposure as everybody else, but he's one of those top players, believe me. Number 4, James Hunter at Oceanside. Another guy that's been on the radar. I know Oceanside was up and down this year, but he was probably the most consistent player on their team, especially at the O-line. Zach Thomas, 6'5", 270 kid, just explosive from Carlsbad is my number 3. Number 2 is David Follow. I've been talking about him all year. I think he was, he's just a herald hero at the offensive line. He really set the tone for Madison, who had all those great players. And number 1, lo and behold, is Michael Alves over at St. Augustine, by far the best lineman in the county.
Our list is almost exactly the same. The only difference, I have Kitten 4, Hunter 5. And yes, I'll agree with you, Alves, unfortunately, is the best lineman in the county, in my opinion, and he's going to UCLA, and as a USC grad, hurts a little bit.
Don't worry about that.
Michael, be easy on my Trojans once you get into college, my friend. So we're going to move on to the defensive side of the ball, Montel. Now we're going to go down to the linemen on the defense, the defensive lineman. Montel, who do you have?
Oh, for the big boys, I got number 5, Josiah Sale at Kearney. Another kid that doesn't get a lot of love. He's starting to get it right now in the recruiting process, but he's just a big mammoth of a man, and he can move. Stud player, love the way he goes. He has a great motor. He's not my number 5 guy. Number 4 is the scariest man I think in San Diego County. Wow, this kid, he's a mountain man if you ever seen one. He's just there. He's there. He's a big player. He's an intimidator. He does his thing. Then we have number 3. Help me with this pronouncing. Robinette, right? From San Marcos.
Joe Robinette, yeah.
Robinette from San Marcos. Kid's just a big beast. I think he's Oregon State bound, if I'm not mistaken. Great kid. Got so much potential to grow with his size. It's going to be unbelievable. Number 2, Danny Bender. And number 1 is Jake Burton. I can't say enough about those 2 guys in the East County. They're both first team, all East County, all everything. They both play a little bit similar. I know Burton's a little bit bigger, but they both play defensive end and defensive tackle. Excellent for those teams. So a shout out to those guys. But that rounds out my top 5.
So you're my top 5, and I have kind of a weird one in there, so I gotta kind of talk about it when I get there. Number 5 is Moli Fa'alago. Moli, hoping to mess up your name, from Bonita Vista. Bonita Vista had a great defense. He was really crucial in that, anchoring down the middle. I have Mitchell Lindgren as a lineman. I know he plays some linebacker. He's kind of a hybrid. I don't really know where he fits in. I had him fit in as a lineman, but if he was a linebacker, he would have made my top 5 list as well, just like he did for yours. Danny Bender, number 3 for me. Number 2, Joel Robinette. And number 1, future Arizona Wildcat, Jacob Burton over at Granite Hills.
Absolutely. Big beast right there.
The DBs, Montel, who are your top 5 defensive backs in San Diego?
I love defensive backs. I love these guys. These guys are the athletes on the other side of the field that make it go. And I'm going to get right into it. Number 5 is Miles Dumas over there in Mission Bay. Kid had an excellent year. Was Mr. Big Play, I would call him. He made big plays after big plays with interceptions and passive breakups. He was the leader on that defense over there in Mission Bay. He's my number 5. And I believe he's just got an offer from the University of New Hampshire, as well as Northern Arizona and all those other good schools. So congratulations to him. Number 4 is Dak Irby over at Morris. The kid doesn't get a lot of exposure. That kid is explosive. He's dominating. I know a lot of schools are looking at him. Number 3 is Will Strickland, who's San Diego State bound. He's been doing it all year, as we know. Number 2 is undecided right now is Terrell Burgess of St. Marcos. He's all around athlete, as we know, play receiver, everything. I know Utah is big on his list, and so is University of Arizona. And number 1, Mission Hills, Troy Warner. BYU commit, but just went to your alma mater for a visit, who's shaking up the recruiting stuff. USC, he just got back from a visit, so now he's undecided. But wish Troy all the best luck, but he's my number 1 DB out there.
And for those who don't know, this is the V for victory. This isn't a number 2. This is a USC thing. That's it might be a little too inside baseball. But anyway, my DB list, same guys, different order. I got Irby at number 5. Agree with you. Doesn't get as much exposure as he should. Miles Dumas, number 4. Great player. Great defensive backfield in general over there at Mission Bay. I mean, it was tough to throw in those guys this year. Don't be mad at the Trojan Nation, Troy Warner. I promise we still would love to have you. I have Troy Warner at number 3 on my list, not necessarily number 1. Will Strickland, his teammate, is number 1, or number 2, excuse me, and the number 1 guy in the county, in my opinion, Terrell Burgess. Got the chance to see him play a couple times, and if he's covering you, you're not getting the ball, period. Sorry.
No, yeah, he's dominating. Absolutely, I agree with you.
It's not going to happen. So now we're going to go to the big hitters, Montel, the linebackers, the guys in the middle of the field, making all the tackles, sticking their nose in there. Who are your top 5 linebackers?
Got to make it happen on defense and keep everything, aflow. I got number 5, Mitch Lindgren from Rancho Bernardo. I know a lot of people don't know about him. If you watch him on film, he is impressive. I believe he had 9 sacks this year, or even more he might have had. But he was all over the quarterback when he blitzed. They played him in the middle on the outside. The kid is just lights out. Great player. Number 4 is Justice Tay at Mission Hills, the linebacker over there that solidified that defense over there. Another great player. Number 3 is Stanford bound Troy Cassidy, Troy Cassidy at Carlsbad. Always been the man in the middle. Done a great job. Number 2 is Tyson Maeva, Cathedral Catholic. I know he's Boise State bound. Unfortunately, he got hurt at the end of the year a little bit. I know he's recovering. I wish him a speedy recovery. Great player. And number 1 is a hard-hitting, knock him out. I call him the predator on the field, Mr. Jihad Wood at Helix. Kid was phenomenal all year, and he's Washington State bound for the Pac-12.
I got a very similar list. Number 5 is Francois Sims II. I know he didn't finish the year quite. He didn't get to finish the year, but a great player over there at Saints, one of the anchors of their defense. Justice Ty, number 4 for me. Mission Hills got all those offers. Tyson Maeva, number 3. Number 2, Troy Cassidy, as you said. And number 1, the scariest man in San Diego high school football, Jihad Woods. There are grown men who would not want to line up against Jihad Woods. I'm just going to say that. Washington State got a good one in the linebacker from Helix. So, as you kind of saw with Mitchell Lindgren, there are some guys who don't really fit into a category. They're kind of all over the place. We call them athletes. So, Montel, who are your top 5 athletes of this class?
Man, you know what? This is a crazy thing for the top 5 athletes, but they're all great. I got Jalen Griffin is my number 5, top 5 athlete. I know he plays majority running back over there at Point Loma, but he plays a little bit of defense. He does some kickoff returns and all those good things. Excellent all-around player. Had a great, phenomenal year. And as Point Loma people said, he did not, or that wasn't a penalty up in Oceanside, and they should have been playing in the finals. So let's go on for that one. That wasn't a holding call. Sorry about that. My
Right.
number 4 guy, Adrian Petty, over there with a Christian. Same kind of dynamic. Does a whole lot of different things over there. He should have been in the running back category, but I put him in the athlete category because he's just great like that. My number 3, Lincoln's Latrey Jaquez. The kid can do it all. He plays receiver. He plays DB. He's a kickoff and punt returner, and he's dynamic at all positions. I don't know where he's going to land as far as college is concerned, but he's a kid that's got big play written all over him. A great, phenomenal player. Traylon Reed from Eastlake, another excellent player over there. I know he plays linebacker. I mean, he plays running back sometimes, but he also plays linebacker. I'm really sold on this kid because I remember talking to Jahad Wood and Stinson, those guys about him to see what they felt about Eastlake, and they said that Traylon was the real deal. So that guy's my number 2, and my number 1 is Dakota Brown over at Kearney. I know he plays quarterback, but he's a receiver, hybrid, wherever you want to call him. All I know is the kid is fast, and he's dynamic, and he makes plays. And that rounds out my top 5 at the athletes position.
Here are my top 5 athletes. I like your list. I stole one of your guys. Number 5 is Ayota Fox from Bonita Vista, another Bonita Vista guy. He mostly plays safety, but he can jump in there on offense. Number 4, a guy who gets little to no attention, and he should, Jashante Span from San Diego High School, excuse me. He's going to go play, I think in
Arizona.
Yep, in Northern Arizona. So, I mean, not a good year for them, but for him, I mean, it just kind of speaks to how good of a player he is that he was able to draw their attention all the way to a team that wasn't doing necessarily that well. Khaled Davis from Grossmont is my number 3 athlete. Number 2, you had him at receiver. Rashid Shaheed is my number 2 athlete, and I got the same number 1 guy, Dakota Brown. He was first team All-CIF, and he's not as a quarterback, and he's not even really a quarterback. So that kind of speaks to how good this kid is.
He's phenomenal. He's an excellent kid. And I heard he's an excellent basketball player, too. I've never seen him play basketball, but I heard he's a really good hoopster as well.
Yeah, I think he's a good hoopster. You got to go check him out playing for the Kearney Comets. So those are our top 5 in every position for 2016. Again, young guys, don't freak out. You're not on this list because you're not a senior. So please look forward to next year, you juniors, when you guys are all seniors and you can make this list. Montel, any final words before we say goodbye?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, everyone out there, please go download our app for SDNFL. Just go to your app store, download SDNFL. It's a free application for our All-Star game coming up on the 26th. We have the players' stats, players' highlight reels, and a whole bunch more information about what's going on about the game and for these guys to be recruited. So download the app. I hope to see everybody at the game. Thanks San Diego football, and good luck to the guys that are playing for the state title this week. Modern Day, Bonita Vista, Coronado. Who else am I forgetting? I'm forgetting one more team.
Rancho Bernardo, who is playing.
Bernardo. Oh, guys, I can remember 3. I can't remember 4 for some reason. Those guys, good luck. I hope you guys do damage. Put San Diego on the map again as far as being state champions. I'm in Oakland right now. I was just telling Tom before this podcast, I'm in Oakland right now, so I'm dedicated to making sure we give you guys the right information. So everybody, good luck this weekend, and good luck at the gala at the Pigskin Report. Whoever wins it, congratulations.
And I will add one thing about that Rancho Bernardo game. There is a reserve quarterback on that Sacred Heart Prep team who you got to watch out for. His name is Eric Morris. If that last name sounds familiar, it should, because he's my cousin. So make sure the starter stays in the game, Arby. You do not want Emo on the field because he will tear you apart. So
There we go. So recap next week, right, Tommy, to finish up the whole season?
Yep, we'll finish up the whole season next week. We'll have all the recaps and everything. Hope you guys have enjoyed us so far this year. We got one more for you before we go away, and we'll see you next week.